Hey guys, The Rock here. Today I'm doing something a bit different on my channel. A commentary on the thought processes I have while I'm wandering the wilds of Chernarus by myself. I was at my base doing a little inventory management when I noticed a weapons crate mission pop up a couple of clicks away. Now my first decision is, how do I get there? Well, while playing by yourself, it's usually best to go on foot. Stealth is absolutely paramount while going lone wolf. The only thing better than moving in on foot is using a bike. Now, as I move closer and get eyes on the objective, I see that all the AI are dead. Many players may move on, assuming that there's nothing left of value, but be surprised at what players leave behind. Besides, I've run this far, and I hate to return empty handed. Now, here I make a rash decision and pick a direction to move without thought. But logic gets the better of me, and I decide to consult my map. Now, your map is a great tactical tool and should be used as often as you can when you plan on moving in on an objective. Here, I see a woodline and low-lying land that should mask my approach most of the way to the crate, and decide that that will be my best move. Skipping forward a bit, you can see the low-lying land that I was talking about and how well protected I am from most angles. I don't have to worry so much about what's behind me, as I've cleared that on the way up. I can focus almost solely on what's in front of me, and that gives me a great tactical advantage. As I approach closer, I decide to take a pause and scope out the area a bit more, so you can never be too cautious in DayZ. I find decent cover with a great vantage point from behind a tree. And what do you know, my patience is paid off and I have eyes on a player looting the objective. I would normally wait for the player to stop before taking a shot, but if the player is moving in a way that you are confident in landing a shot, do not hesitate. As the player moves to concealment in a bush, I take a few more shots and am confident in a successful kill. My thoughts now move to who may have been with the player, or turn to cover and observe. A minute later, I see a player moving down the hill toward the objective, and he's taking shots from an unknown player. In these situations, it's always better to just let it play out. If the player in the hero skin wins the fight, he's wounded, and he's easy to deal with. If the unknown player wins the fight, his confidence is boosted, and he will come out of cover to try and secure his reward. Either way, patience bears fruit, and you will most likely be the victor. A minute later, I hear a heavy vehicle, most likely a Ural, a few hundred meters to my right, and I get anxious. I get eyes on the unknown player from before, and instead of taking my time and getting my zero incorrect, I shoot. I can't be assured if I landed any successful hits, and it's time to reposition. My plan now is to move to my original position by the deer stand and see if I can locate the wounded player. My focus is also turned to the vehicle, which I believe is stopped a few hundred meters away and should be close to my next firing point. As I get to my original position, I find that I've lost track of the wounded player and decide he has most likely moved on to fight another day. My attention then turns to the Ural I heard before. As I move to the right about 200 meters, I find a fuel truck parked at the edge of the wood line. My plan now is to set up a position on the other side of the fuel truck, as I suspect the owners will return once they secure the loot. As I move into position, I find that I do not have a line of sight on the objective and need to move to a better position if I need to fire. I can always return to the fuel truck if I suspect the players are on their way back. I see two players at the objective and decide to take it nice and slow and get a proper range to the crate. I know the other player is to the left and don't have eyes on him, but dealing with one player is always better than dealing with two, so I take my shot. With the one player hit twice, I stand up to get eyes on the second player and find an easy shot on him. Unfortunately, my next shots don't connect. With the failed attempt, it's time to change positions, so I decide to move to my second position once again. Once in position, I see the player that I wounded before return to the hero skin fellow that he killed before. Unfortunately, I don't have a good vantage point on the house, and soon lose him as he moves into town. You know what this means? Yep, change positions. I decide the best vantage point into the town now will be next to the fuel truck from before. I know this sounds boring, but when combat is boring, you're usually doing it well. As I get into position, I start to arrange different objects so that I'm ready to go. But as I do, I see two players moving toward the fuel truck as expected. Not the most elegant spray, but it got the job done. I decide to move off a bit and make sure there's no one else lurking around before I loot the players' bodies. I decide it's now or never. If I want anything out of this, I need to loot those bodies and move to a better position before another player comes along. As I'm looting, I see something out of the corner of my eye, and I know I'm in a bad spot. I decide to make first contact, but the bush blocks my shot. Now the player knows where I am, and we're exchanging effective fire. It's time to plan for retreat. I give him one last shot to make him think twice, and off I go. There's still gunfire near the objective, and I decide it's best to make a tactical retreat. What I hope you've learned from this video is how to stealthily approach combat, how to change positions effectively, and when to call it quits. By firing from different points, you not only make yourself harder to track, but it also confuses your enemy into thinking there are multiple players engaging them. In the Army, the artillery had a motto: shoot, move, and communicate. And I think that applies well to most combat scenarios. Even when you don't have a team, communicate with yourself. Remind yourself of what the situation is constantly. Keep track of all the information you have gathered, and always plan for a hastier treat. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed.